Oh boy, here we go again in Tampa. Something Tampa never fails to do.
Welcome to Bucks Arnold.
Well, here we go once again. Baker Mayfield feeling disrespected, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers GMs are failing to sign a long-term deal with a franchise quarterback. This is not something new. This is not something new. This is not something new. We have failed miserably when it comes to this challenge since the existence of the inaugural season with this franchise. They either pick some really bad drafts and let all the talent go. It's not a secret. We've seen Doug Williams go out the door. We've seen Steve Young go out the door. We've also seen Vinny Testaverde go out the door. And hopefully we're not going to see Baker Mayfield go out the door because this would be devastating. There's absolutely, in my opinion, if we're thinking about in reality, that's available to help the Bucks win now. And if we're being honest, he doesn't have the team that Tom Brady inherited. Because everybody, the whole NFL knew when Tom Brady came to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we're literally a good quarterback, not just a great one, a good quarterback away from the potential of becoming Super Bowl champions, like we did in that year. But Baker Mayfield has really proven his self worth in the time that's been here. And I just don't understand a lot of the Buccaneers fans who are oblivious to see what's going on with the play. I see the comments, and it absolutely is mind-boggling. I'm like, are y'all watching the same football team? It makes absolutely no sense. But the truth of the matter is, Baker Mayfield carried this team through all of the 2025 season, and it was not a secret. He did it with a lot of injuries, not just to himself, but to the wide receiving core. He did that, and then let's not forget that the running backs were banged up during the season as well, and now we don't have that security blanket with Rashad White as he is out the door. So I see many fans saying, "Oh, he needs to win us a Super Bowl before he wants that extension," and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, so instead of securing our franchise quarterback and depending on a draft on someone who is unproven and hoping that a superstar gets released or a big trade comes from another team is very highly unlikely and is not very logical. Like, who in their right mind thinks about that? In my opinion, I believe he's a lot better than Dak Prescott. But you can look at what happened to the Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott. They were in a similar position. They weren't confident in the draft to draft someone better to replace Dak Prescott. And there was nobody who was actually available who was better than Dak Prescott at the time to replace him. And we all saw how that monster folded out. Dak wound up getting a record-breaking contract to being one of the highest paid football players in the NFL, and it has turned into nothing. Why would we want to do the same thing? If Baker Mayfield, and I believe if he stays healthy, he's going to have a great season. We have a really good young receiving core. If he lights it up like he's been lighting it up the last 3 years, it will cost the Buccaneers dearly in compensation and will hurt our depth. And that's, when I say it'll affect our depth, I'm talking about the salary cap. Because if our salary cap is hit very hard, then we know we don't have the salary cap availability to maintain our depth chart. It's basic math, right? So the thing is, there is nobody that's better than Baker Mayfield at this very moment that is available. There isn't. It's going to have to be a trade, and whoever they're going to trade for, they're going to want a lot in return. whether they do it this year or they wait to the end of the contract. Now, if we wait to the end of the contract to get this man a long-term deal, we're going to severely pay for it. And he's already said that negotiations are off the table because now he's ready to focus on the season. That is very bad news for the Buccaneers. They better come with an awesome contract that will make him relook to re-sign before the season starts or before the first half of the season ends. Because if not, it's going to be a very long off season. So I'm going to be very reluctant to see what happens during training camp into before the preseason starts, or into the preseason going to the start of the 2026 NFL season. Don't get me wrong. It's also a risk for Baker Mayfield if he was to get an injury, and then a lot of the naysayers would be like, "See, I'm glad we didn't sign a long term," but we still present the same problem and the same issue. Who do we have available that we could take right now to help this team win and get over the hump right now? I don't believe there's any availability that's not going to cost us an arm and leg, which will put us back to square one. What's the point of getting another great QB if we don't have the rest of our team? And just look at Vita Vea, man. We can't even. He wants out. He's a very key, pivotal player to our defense. We need him. The Buccaneers have done this for a very long time. There's a few that they were able to maintain, like Warren Sapp, John Lynch, and a few others. And even then, they couldn't secure a little bit longer contracts for them to retire as a Buck. I mean, I don't know if you remember in the year 2001, Hardy Nickerson was a great linebacker, number 56, that played alongside with Derrick Brooks. We let him go in free agency. And yes, he left to the Jaguars because he wanted to try to win a Super Bowl, right? Even though we're right there. But, man, had we offered to pay a little bit more money, it would have been great. Now, luckily for us, we still won the Super Bowl, right? But the point I'm trying to make is many of our great players are not retiring as Buccaneers. Now, before someone says that's just the way it is, I understand, but you can see where I'm going with this. It's apparent with his age, he's literally in the prime of his career. This isn't the 90s or 80s anymore where people capped out in their prime, in their late 20s. With modern technology and just the shift of the game and just having better knowledge of how to take care of our bodies better, we're seeing professional athletes play well into their 40s at a very, very high level, whereas before it was something that was like, it was a phenomenon. It's not like that anymore. A lot of the top peak professional sports players around any league are playing well into their 40s now. It's not something that's very uncommon. Now, is it spectacular and surprising? Yes, it still can be, but the truth is it's happening more often compared to before. And with that being said, the last thing we want to see him go back to somewhere like Carolina or to Atlanta, where they're definitely in a dire need of a leader to take helm, right? I think the Panthers QB will be all right because he is very young, and Bryce Young. But let's be honest, he is not no Baker Mayfield, not at all. But let's see what Baker Mayfield had to say today.
I mean, obviously, I've told you guys I've been pretty upfront and honest about my feelings about Tampa. It being home for now our family, we're raising kids here. We love it here. I wanted the deal done and set the deadline and told them it was going to be all ball after that, and I did mean that. And I don't know if they thought I was just going to take some of the offers that they gave, but I'm at the point of my career and understanding what I've brought to this franchise. One, I'm very, very thankful for the chance they gave me. Do not get me wrong on that. But I've also I really know what I've brought to this franchise, leadership-wise, and even play-wise. It's been some of the best years of my career, and I think it's only going to trend upwards, just being comfortable and feeling that. So disappointing in that regard to not have, to feel disrespected a little bit. And that's really the disappointing part, to feel undervalued after, thinking you've earned it. This is not a poor me thing. Yeah, I mean, obviously I've told you guys I've been pretty upfront and honest about my feelings about Tampa. It being home for now our family, we're raising kids here.
Well, there you have it. Let me know what you think on this situation. And a little big backtrack. Yes, I know we replaced Rashad White with a good running back, but we'll see how that plans out.
Welcome to Bucks Autos